Oh, yeah. Yes. I took his hydrogeology classes, but I
Hey,
didn't,
Tech Services, can you hear us okay?
you know, field camp,
Yeah.
field trips.
Yeah. With Arkansas.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Still waiting on bills, up to you if you want to
Yeah.
get started.
We give Bill a few minutes.
Yeah. Especially if, yeah, if you're not gonna vote on the minutes, then we'll need Bill. Or we can table it.
Yeah.
Give you time to read it.
Yes.
Do you wanna do introductions since you have some other
Yes,
folks
what
here?
we should, this one, go ahead,
Yeah.
Ron, you wanna start?
Sure. Donnie Randolph, County Surveyor.
Bob Audio, President of the Drainage Board.
Doug Graham, Faneuil.
I'm Aaron, and I'm the subject.
Diana with wastewater, the health department, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Terry Philbin with the board.
Okay.
Ginger Gaines on board.
Kelsey Petonia, MS4 coordinator.
And,
My name is Eric Oxender. I'm trying to get a permit.
okay.
Other,
That's all right.
we have a couple of folks online as well. No lead yet.
I'm on the Indiana Water Leadership Academy like review team. And
Yeah.
I realized that Adam was in my cohort.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ricker?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I knew him. I knew him. I didn't know where I knew him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I have some random people in my network who I met through that program.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
And good that you crossed paths in your career, so many years later.
Yeah. Read something and was like, wait, what did we do? Like, what-
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, now you know,
Morning, Kelsey.
what do you got? just get some introductions, Bill, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Bill Rigger. I'm a member of the Drainage Board and I'm a civil engineer.
In the back corner,
Andy Knust, civil engineer at Bledsoe Rigger Cooper James.
thank you, okay. Okay. Then call to order, and, the first item is the approval of the minutes, and I had trouble downloading them, so I didn't get to review them. So I would like to table that until next time, I get a chance to do, that's okay. So do we need a motion to table? Okay,
I don't think so.
all right. Very good. And then, there's a public input for items not on the agenda. Kelsey, do you know of anybody that,
I do not see any hands raised on mine. Nobody hears anything else to say. We're all here for agenda items.
okay.
Okay.
Well, then we'll go right into the business and go ahead, Kelsey. The drainage easement waiver.
Yeah, so first item on the agenda is a drainage easement waiver. I wrote you a memo describing the situation. We have the property owner, Eric, here, and I greatly appreciate his patience as we work through this since doesn't happen very often. So what happened is we had a septic permit issued and the septic field installed within a drainage easement. And the drainage easement is meant to convey surface flow. This is like a 2006 subdivision. Looking at the plat, the easement boundaries are not clear on the plat the way that it was scanned in and on the recorded version. So if you don't have, the trained eye to look at the topography and just look to see if there's an easement there, I can see how it could be easily overlooked. Since then, I have obtained a better version of this plat that I've distributed in most county departments so that we have a better version moving forward. So we had to figure out what to do with this septic field and the drainage easement. Obviously, we don't want surface water flowing over your septic field in order to protect it and for its longevity. The way that I want to look at this is for the drainage board to allow the septic field to remain, pending, approval from the health department, make sure that they're okay with it. And we would move that drainage easement just south of the property boundary.
Okay, go ahead and pull it.
Yeah, well, it's here. I have some pictures I'll show in a second. Basically, we're gonna be just shifting the drainage easement to work with the land here. So it doesn't drain a huge area. I saw about 8 or so acres. It's a big hill across the street here with just one other residence uphill from here. We also have drainage from the north as well, so a little bit more just residential area draining to this. We have two 24-inch corrugated plastic pipes going under Stone Ridge Road, as well as two 12-inch culverts from Michelle Court to the north. They all meet in this area, and the surface water flows from east to west here. So I believe when they installed the septic field, there's kind of a flow path that goes outside the easement area to the south here. So again, the 40-foot drainage easement was delineated with the plat, I think assuming the lot would be mass graded or something like that, but if we can move that drainage easement boundary farther south to cover this flow path here, the septic field itself, to me, doesn't look like it poses a huge obstruction. It's more for the longevity of the septic field, so.
Okay. So with if you go down to the.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Actually, I'm sorry, Bob.
Yeah, go ahead.
The septic field you're talking about is the one you've got listed as existing.
It's listed as existing, yes, because we had this topo done after it was installed. Yeah.
So it is accurate.
Yes. Yeah, they had Decker Land Surveying complete the topo so that we could determine the distance between the septic field and the property boundary and see if we had enough space to convey surface flow. They had proposed potentially encapsulating this ditch in order to get it around the septic field. But I'll show you the pictures, and it's tricky because we have two sets of twin culverts to connect. And it would be tricky.
Mhm.
Build a box around.
It would be a very big box.
Okay, and just that with the easement, just south of that, or
Mhm.
would a portion of it still cover that septic field?
It would still cover the septic field. I would envision just extending this line to the property boundary, so we cover this whole area in the easement. So the septic field would exist in the easement, so that's what I'm looking for your
Okay.
permission for.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, you're not moving that northern boundary down necessarily, okay.
Mostly because we only have 18.5 feet between the corner of the septic field and the property boundary, and that's not sufficient,
Okay,
according to our,
Yeah.
how we would normally size an easement.
okay,
You've got 3 pipe that are routing over to that ditch.
Four,
Four.
yes. There, so this is what it looks like, these two 24-inch pipes. They're not exactly close together either, so if you were to encapsulate it, it would be a very large box.
What? Did the fellow dig that ditch already?
There's a little bit of a swale, it's very minimal. But you can see the water is going around the septic field to the left here. Pictures. It's going to this wooded area, so flowing this way. And this stockpile will actually moved as well.
So the home was just recently built, or there is no homes?
They're waiting on their building permit.
Okay, cause I'm looking at an area with no structure, okay.
Is there a perimeter drain on that septic field?
Yeah, it's in China, yes, here in Kentucky.
Yep, so I have got a curtain drain on the upslope sides right now for the septic field. So there's not one on the downslope end, but it's all on all 3 sides,
All 3 sides being the
upper and lower
North.
sides.
northeast, northwest.
Yep, I will highlight. So it's not
Do we have?
It's not actually on the septic field, it's about 10 feet out, but it would be
I can get that. for you.
basically like this. And then there'd be some drainage outlets.
Okay. Donna just let me know that Lee Jones is on, that she looks like a guest.
Okay.
If I'm able to promote her, I will.
We'll see.
Yes,
Another question was that
Oh, no,
version sale.
he was promoting.
Do you know anything about the details? Is it just a V bottom? Is it just like a bottom width to the bottom?
we can specify that.
Okay. It's not completed then.
What you see right now, yeah, is just a very minor depression where you have some concentrated flow.
Okay. I'm just thinking,
I think, Erica, I was working with them on their SWIP, Eric Decker is doing it. I think we could ask that they maybe do, regrade some of that area
what
to,
kind of slope do you, longitudinal slope it has?
yeah. Sorry, John had asked that
So they're lot 10.
sorry, I just muted you for some background noise, but if you want to speak, please do. Okay, so Terry's asking about the slope. John had asked to see the original plat. So here's the plat. And the easements are not clear.
Is that lot 70 or lot 10?
From,
70.
Lot 70.
yeah. So you see the easement. I need to look here and you see that little label for a 40-foot drainage easement, but the lines are not there for any of the easements on this plat. They're very.
Oh, they're just
unclear.
faint. You can see them, but they're just.
Yeah.
Do you know if we paired those back at all, just for recording purposes? Sometimes we scale back some of the drawings.
Well, you would get,
No,
would you get a copy from the engineer?
I got a
Yeah,
You
copy
look at electronic.
What year was this recorded?
2006.
2006.
I got a copy from Fine and Fanny. They resent it to me and you can see all the lines
When we
clearly.
start to do, put it on the plat, make it clear.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, that's what we were looking at to begin with, and I can see. You know, my staff knew what to look for, which is how we
Right.
caught it, but
It's an interesting way to delineate easement.
okay. Next, we want to talk about the slope. So the amount of fall we have from the pipe down here.
2, 3, 4, like 5 feet.
We have a little bit over here. So,
Steeper.
Distance of that
near the-
property line, 154.
That one solid
Yeah.
line is 153,
mhm,
maybe 150 feet or so.
Yeah, 5 feet and 100.5.
mhm. I think it's more than 5 feet, about 10 feet, because these are 1 foot
Or they
contours.
1,
So from here,
3, 4, 5.
6, 7, 8, there's 8 contours.
Where am I missing?
okay,
Maybe I'm not seeing.
The blue one's the contour.
Yeah.
which
yeah,
goes
so this is the
That's the
700,
4.
this is
And then by
695.
the A and setback. And then 2 more past that. It seems like steeper, near that, I don't even know what that symbol
the out-
is. Near the outfall, yeah.
Mhm.
What is that symbol near the outfall, that
Which one? This?
is?
End
yeah.
sections?
Yeah, these are the pipe.
No, not those, the area that those,
Oh, the stippling?
yes. Thank
Probably
you.
riprap.
Oh, this, okay.
Is that what that is? Is that all?
It,
Is that all
there's
riprap?
stone there, yeah.
I have a couple of questions, and it's just kind of the process of
Mhm.
getting here. I know we're dealing with kind of after the fact situation again, but I think it's helpful to understand how things precipitated, so we clearly understand kind of what may occurred. From the gist of it, it seems like it was a accidental thing, which happens, but I guess, was it their proposed area, suggested by or proposed by the health department on this?
It was based on where the soil borings were done.
Right, and that would have been with like Jim Brown, long time ago, most likely, because the health department was contracting them out.
Yeah, because they'd applied for that, permit multiple times. I think the earliest one I found was in about 2006.
Was there any air, do we know where those boring points were?
Yeah, I have got GPS readings for all of them and a couple of maps.
Do you have a map? Okay, that would be great. And then, I guess, when was this installed? Is it a new installation? Yeah, okay. And what are the Presby folks doing, you know, when they're installing this, and are they not looking at the deed? I mean, they should be.
Yeah.
I understand that maybe a common person coming in not interpreting it correctly,
Yeah.
but. So, I mean, that's a little outside of after the fact situation, but it's really important to me to understand.
Yeah.
Well, the 1, 2, and 3, so the 1 is where they're proposing, isn't that where it looks like it was kind of built?
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3 are the soil borings where they did it.
Where-
The septic field was placed in that area.
Okay, so they were following also where the suitable soil was.
Yep.
So then the drainage easement was just put there. And then somehow that communication gap had to exist, because I doubt they're gonna propose an area where that easement was. Okay, this is helping a lot. Thanks.
Seems like the easement was there before they did the second.
Yeah, what came
Yes.
first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, probably the platted easement, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
But was it just a poor, an indistinct map? It's difficult to read them, to see.
I have
Would have thought the
combination
health
of
department
things.
would have caught that.
Or they were just going off of what was the suitable soil and where they had the.
It was kind of a combination of
issues.
those things, where that was where the soil borings were done. It was considered suitable for, you know, as far as soils go. And then during the inspection, we just didn't catch where the easement was because we hadn't seen a map of it. so.
Right, yeah, no, I get that.
And we're
That's
talking
That
about,
was- It is kind of our bad for not catching where the flow of water was, but we didn't see it at the time when we were on site and didn't see it from the map, so.
So there wasn't any obvious signs of drainage through there. Is this not a significant, I mean, there's 4 pipes, but is there not significant concentrated flow? You said it
From what
was
I
an
can see,
8?
there isn't a distinct stream at all here. It's just a.
What's the watershed for that?
So the watershed for this goes about up to Strain Ridge Road. So we're talking the parcels right here. So it drains this area up here, and Strain Ridge comes around. It's basically just a subdivision here, then it's a break in the watershed comes down. So it's just a handful of lots here that. it
Yeah, but
drains.
as the 2 or 3 or 4 other lots get
Mhm.
developed, then that may.
There has been more development in this area. This is 2022 imagery, so this lot has been developed, I know. Sure on these, Erica would know better, but there's been a lot of development down this area as well.
Yeah, but it looks like, I mean, from, at least from that
Yeah.
perspective right there, which may be around the time that you and I mean, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lots that probably drain to that area that are not developed yet.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that, flow will increase likely.
Yes.
So there may not be obvious signs now, but
Mhm.
flows.
That's a great point. Some of the homes have 10,000 square feet or more of impervious surface. They're significant.
I don't know. Moving forward, is moving the easement south, expanding it, yes. And then, creating more of a drainage ditch or a drainage swale.
I can specify that one.
Okay, and, but then we have, do an exemption for the septic field being in the easement. Yeah.
That's the waiver request.
It's the waiver, yes, okay. And, you know, going forward, I take that you distributed better maps of the easements. So that,
Yes,
you could, yeah, catch these.
and talking about how to improve the processes in the future so that, so that we can help, you know, the health department as well, capture these
Yeah,
easements and, yeah.
yeah. So,
Thing to add
go ahead.
regarding the ditch or the realignment. It'd be prudent to see some numbers to justify the width based on the slope that's going through there.
Mhm.
I was looking at it, like it's about 5% or better. So you need to get something that's at a flat bottom and slow the water down best you can.
Eric did say he could work with Chelsea Moss on, yeah, so.
It's her job.
No, Eric Deckard did the topo, but he said if we need something like that, he had
Okay.
her available. I think more in the discussion of encapsulating it, she would design the structures and everything. But I can ask if they can specify, like a cross section of a ditch to fit in that space.
And propose, if velocity warrant to propose something to keep it stable.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Okay, the homeowner like to speak, or do you want to, yeah, Eric, go ahead.
No, I mean, you've kind of stated everything that I was considering. Obviously the septic fields in, my septic gentleman who built this said it would be very bad to try to move it. That's kind of why I got in touch with Kelsey and trying to get this accomplished. Yeah, I think it was just more of a matter of him providing the information, as you mentioned, kind of like it got through, perhaps it shouldn't have, but this is where we're at. So, I'm really here to answer any questions. I mean, you have all the information, it sounds like. It's kind of, I think we're on the same page.
Okay, no problem with putting in some sort of drainage structure.
Yeah, Kelsey mentioned Eric Deckard, and I've been working with them.
Okay.
And, yeah, I mean, I just want to be able to move forward, so whatever is necessary, we'll certainly will do.
All right,
I would encourage you to, ensure that you never see backup or, ponding in that area, and if you do readdress, just because you don't wanna have your septic inundated, that would be So, just keep an eye on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so then, motion for a waiver with moving the drainage easement, expanding the drainage easement south. Creating a drainage structure with, appropriate velocities and erosion control if needed. And, so is there anything else that needs to be included in that?
Stabilization.
No, I think great thing. You guys put, you can make that a condition, or do you need to?
So I think if we're already expanding the drainage easement, I think we can put something, I can have Eric put some language in there saying why.
Oh, I'm just,
There's like something recorded with the property to say like this is where the septic field is. And the drainage board reviewed it.
whatever, if you've got something in mind, that's fine.
I can talk to Eric Deckard about some language when he does the
I'm
easement.
not, don't beat it to death, it's my feeling.
I think this goes back to that, we need something recorded with the deed though too, just
Mhm.
to get it on record and
Okay.
be in there kind of permanent in perpetuity, so that it's.
Okay.
So that would have to be recorded if you change the.
Right,
Thanks, man.
that's
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
Okay.
Slide something.
Right,
It's so moved.
that was second. Okay. We'll go through, Bill, yes?
Yes,
No.
Bye.
Yes,
And audio says yes also.
And you do have Lee Jones on.
Oh, and Lee, yay or nay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Uh-huh.
All right. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for helping to explain. And,
Appreciate it.
yeah,
Thank
well,
you
it sounds like it was a learning experience and so, well,
for everyone, I think.
yeah.
Thank you for inviting me, Kelsey.
Yes, no problem. We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you guys.
Thank you, Eric.
And can I also say one last thing?
Yeah.
Thank you for the approval of the waiver, but thank you for Kelsey. It's tested my patience, but I see
No.
the process, and I really appreciate all the help you've given me, as well as Eric, she's been helpful as well.
Great,
Thank you very
okay.
much.
We'll be in touch, Eric. Thank you. I hate holding up building permits, but.
Right, right.
Okay.
This, it was a good catch
Mhm.
and I think it needed to be addressed.
Yeah,
It'll enhance the collaboration between health
Yeah.
and stormwater up
Mhm.
in this area, which I think is
Yeah.
very valuable.
we're having discussions on the new stormwater permit and procedures and OpenGov permitting, who's gonna be reviewing what. And the order of operations for things. And so this is a perfect example of, to support that we need to have a little bit more review of, say, wastewater permits before they're issued for this reason.
Especially in old platted subdivisions that
Yeah.
have been developed for
Yeah.
almost 20 years.
Not that we need a say in everything, but just so we can at least look at drainage easements.
Well, as long as there's a better map, I think that'll help a lot. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so the next project, we have the engineer on Teams. This is a project on federal property, US Postal Service. They're doing a property expansion on an existing facility here on the northwest side of town. So this is located in the Jackson Creek Critical Watershed. This is Vernal Pike, I-69 here. So it is in an existing business park. This is it Northwest Park? Not North Park. Northwest Park. And this this business park was approved in 1995, just before the drainage board was formed. So I didn't have any information on drainage in this area. But so these lots here there are actually 5 regional ponds that were created in this business park. At least 3 of them are on common area lots owned by Monroe County. Erica inspected at least these three, owned by the commissioners, last year, and they were in poor condition.
Mm.
As you can imagine, it was in the nineties, and, yeah, I think ownership and maintenance responsibilities were probably not top priority, at the time. So before this petition came through, it was already on my radar, something that we definitely need to address.
As in the county should be maintaining these ponds?
And
or-
need to have some conversations on who's responsible for what.
Okay.
The fact that the county owns the ponds,
Right, would seem like,
we were gonna be involved in it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but to my knowledge, there's no business association, so it would likely fall in the county.
Okay, so there's no business HOA.
No.
Right.
Could you point out the ponds a little bit? I guess I'm having a hard time seeing them. Or are they dry?
They're in those woods,
They're in the woods in the back?
Have you seen them?
Okay.
walked all of them.
So basically,
And I ran that stretch of the trail that goes right behind it a couple of times.
yeah, we have the
I'm
Carthage
vaguely
Greenway
familiar with that
that
area.
cuts through here. Yeah, all the ponds are in wooded areas, so, this one here was just built by putting a dam in the stream essentially.
Okay.
But they all have split structures.
Mhm,
They're in just various stages of disrepair,
mhm.
just over the years. It's all overgrown, so. There's some work to be done here, which I was already aware of. I did receive the original grading plans and, detail sheets on the outlet structures from Smith Design. They, thankfully were able to pull those up for me, but I don't have a drainage report, and I'm not sure how they designed these basins and what their assumptions were and,
Right,
so,
early days,
yeah.
yeah, yes.
Like I said, this is pre-drainage board, so there's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless Terry, unless you know,
I'm sorry,
unless you have any additional information on these,
no.
okay.
Doesn't go that.
No, I wasn't saying that. no.
What I was just thinking is, this is a proposal for the post office,
Yes,
so can we, focus on that one detention away from it there? Let's see what needs to be addressed for this petition.
yeah, this property actually drains to two of the regional ponds.
Okay,
Yeah. And they have opted to install their own pond on this property
separate,
so that they don't have to mess with the regional ponds.
they don't want to buy out that maintenance. Not bad idea.
So, since this is in a critical watershed, I've asked that they capture their new impervious surface to meet the critical watershed release rate.
Mhm.
The existing impervious is draining to the regional ponds,
Right.
so, they're proposing a single, new pond on the property. All right, so. Give you more information. So I gave a summary of the project. And they provided a preliminary drainage report with the narrative describing what they're trying to do here. And I'll let the engineer Julio give a little bit more detailed explanation, but and I'm fairly minimal comments on this. I did include a topo from what I had here so that you could more easily see with these contours. I think a little bit more detail than what was on Elevate. But you can see here the regional pond with the dam constructed here. So basically the south portion of the site will go to this pond, then the north portion will go to this pond over here. So,
Both ponds drain to Jackson.
yes, and both ponds will eventually join together and drain to the same exact area.
Do you have a layout of what they're proposing,
I do.
so we can kind of see the additional impervious?
I do. Actually, hold on, I'm gonna pause my share for a moment. Sorry. Sorry. I forgot to pull this up. I just received a, updated version of the plan that I want to show you. I just received it from Julio last night. While I'm pulling this up, Julio, would you like to give a explanation of this project in your original just preliminary design?
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you so much, Kelsey, for that introduction. Yeah, just as Kelsey mentioned, the post office plans to upgrade their facility. The facility is made up of some interior upgrades along with some upgrades in the site. As far as the site is concerned, they are hoping to meet their growth demands for employees and as well as distribution. So they are, as far as like the site upgrades, they're proposing like new parking and also to upgrade the parking lot to house infrastructure to charge electric vehicles. So that's what's driving the extent of the development on this site. This exhibit that Kelsey just pulled up, it shows in shaded regions the areas of new pavement. So these are these are areas that are added to accommodate like new employee parking in order to meet what the post office is looking for as far as employee counts. That parking lot on the south, just on the bottom of that building exactly, that's where the electric vehicles and charging stations will be housed. And so like that's part of the upgrades. Now, the total area of, let me take a step back. Ideally, to accommodate stormwater detention requirements, you would have a detention pond pretty much capture all of the areas where we're proposing new pavement. That's the simplest approach and ideal approach. However, this site is difficult because we have very little space between like the eastern property lines and the new pavement, which you can see the property line right where the mouse is hovering. There's very little space for detention. Additionally, it's not shown here, but there's a sanitary easement that runs along the easterly property line in the north and south direction. So this site has very limited space to work with when it comes to detention. There is, so that ideal scenario doesn't work for us. So what we're proposing is like, hey, how about if we quantify how much runoff the new pavement is generating, and in total that new pavement is about 1/2 an acre, and we calculated that about for the 10 and the 100-year storms, the runoff is about 7,500 and 11,000 cubic feet respectively. So what we're suggesting is like, hey, drainage area A is about 1.5 acres. It's made up of the eastern half of the building, which is all hard surface. It's got that grassed area right north of the building, and it's got a portion of the drive. So that totals about 1.5 acres. And for the 10-year storm and 100-year storm, the release, the runoff is about, let's just say, it's 12,000 and 22,000 cubic feet of runoff. So we're proposing, hey, let's treat the runoff from drainage area A, and in lieu of providing individual detention for all of the areas that we're introducing. That pond on the upper right is what we're thinking. The pond volume is about 33,000 cubic feet, and it's 4 feet in depth. And so we're proposing right now to capture all of that. Right now, the runoff from drainage area, as Kelsey mentioned, is being discharged to that pond over to the north, and it's not being detained at all. There's a 15-inch line that runs underneath that drive. It's more like the top right of the building. over to the right more, over to the right. There's a gap in the parking, in drainage area A.
Okay,
Right there, exactly, yeah. So there's a 15-inch line that flows from there underneath the drive and eventually over to the north to where that regional pond is. So right now, that's not detained at all. So we're proposing to just divert all of that flow into the new pond and then provide detention in that pond and then eventually release it in the same path and it'll end up in that regional basin. So essentially, we're asking, hey, let us capture drainage area A in lieu of providing detention for all the pavement that we are introducing. The second part of our request is has to do with the size of the orifice. The new drainage code stipulates that the minimum orifice diameter is 4 inches. However, we weren't able to meet the flows with the 4-inch diameter orifice. We can meet the flows with a 2.5-inch diameter orifice, which would be an internal flow, which when it comes to clogging, it would be, how should I say, it's a better scenario when it comes to preventing clogging, the internal orifice that we're proposing. As far as the flows that we're looking to meet, for the critical, since it's a critical area, we're in line with what we understand to be previously approved projects. We are cutting the allowable rates to 50%. So normally they're 0.45 and 0.9 CFS for the 10 and 100 year per acre of development. We're cutting that to half. And if we can meet those rates with the 2.5-inch diameter orifice, but we provided the rates in the report as far as like what the 4-inch can provide. We can meet the 100-year, just to keep it simple, we can only meet the 100-year for the standard of permissible peak flow rates, but we cannot meet the reduced rates that you would want from a critical area. So I threw out a whole lot at you. If you, definitely here for questions.
Thank you, Julio.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, Julio, it looks like the location of your detention basin is on a ridge.
Yes.
Are you able to get the water into it? I mean, that seems like not a very good place to locate it. I know the site's restricted.
Exactly. So the thought was it would require some earthwork, some removal, just to make way for the pond. We do have, it's almost like in this case is pick your poison, right? Those are probably strong words, but this is almost like the least of how should I say, toughest of the potential solutions. We do have enough fall from drainage area A to reach that pond, and then eventually to release it. But yeah, it would require earthwork to make that work. Ideally, we wouldn't have to detain anything, but we won't get that wish, I'm sure.
Okay. Strictly, if you're moving that dirt, do you know what the bedrock is situation up there?
So we have borings. You see where that parking area of drainage area C is? That northernmost parking stall, where drainage, right there, yes. We have a boring there that's 10 foot deep, and it shows that the material is good. It's gravelly type of material. So they didn't encounter any bedrock in that boring.
So this area is potentially additional fill, so you're not as concerned about depth to bedrock here?
Correct, yeah. So if we looked at the approved drawings, I believe they're from '99, and they show that area as an area of pretty much like stockpile for additional material.
Okay. And another question, Kelsey has a guy that's going to review this. but you're going to size your basin based on the 2-year orifice, 2.5 inch orifice, but then you'll put a 4 in? Is that what you
So-
proposed?
We can have that discussion. We'll defer to whatever you prefer. Yeah, we'll defer to whatever you'll approve. Yeah, but what we're saying is that in order to meet the reduced rates, we can only do that with the 2.5 inch diameter.
Okay,
Yeah. Right, we're
Sorry,
limited
yeah.
to a 4 inch.
Yeah.
So as long as your calculations show that
Mhm.
at the 2.5, and you're meeting the critical discharge rates, correct? Critical watershed discharge rates.
Yes.
With the 2.5 inch, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
I have a question and it's in regards to the proposed drainage area 1. So that's where the soil boring was done, just to clarify, I was looking at my screen when you were highlighting it,
was
it's
right
right there, okay. Just in regards to kind of that trail and just looking at it from an aerial and from the plat, it looks like you're getting real tight and that doesn't show that trail on your plat, so is that it right
This is
there?
it right here, yeah.
Okay, so it's just hidden behind the text. Okay, so it looks like you have significant room. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind, no question, just
Okay.
guidance on the plat.
Sure.
Do you have comments on their proposal for one detention basin to, like, the,
So,
making up for the other added impervious?
okay, so they're gonna put in the detention basin. And I'm having trouble following, but they're only gonna capture from drainage area A for that. And then if you go down, so C and D or whatever, those down there, they're gonna go to the existing pond.
Yes.
Okay, and now the volume calculations, is it all the calculated volume from all those impervious areas? But they're not capturing it, but they're designing it like they are gonna capture it all?
Yeah, so it's kind of this flip flop. There's gonna be added impervious cover throughout the site,
Right,
and they're going to basically include existing impervious in this pond to make up for not detaining the new in the other basins.
okay.
So all the new pavement, any new impervious surface is being equated to area A. They're trying to balance.
Yes, they're trying to balance, yeah. With the
And
thought
then
that-
some, and then some. Yeah, we're providing 70% more for the 10-year and 90% more for the 100-year. So yeah, we're almost doubling what we're introducing.
Okay,
And we don't think the runoff going to the existing pond is gonna be a problem.
well,
Because we don't, well, we don't know the basic design
right.
Right.
criteria or assumptions for those existing basins.
And the other thought is that they are draining to the same location ultimately.
Yeah. Do we even know what size pipe is?
I have the detailed
Yeah,
drawings
okay.
of the outlet structures, yeah.
They are actual outlet, not just like years ago, they just threw a pipe in the ground and called it a detention basin.
No, there are very large concrete outlet control structures.
Okay.
Let me,
let me get something clear with Julio. Julio, did you say that you are going to detain the 100-year storm to the requirement of the ordinance or the drainage basin?
Yes, with the 2.5 inch, we can meet the 100-year release rates for that drainage area A.
You will be detaining it to offset from 0.9 down to the 0.45 peak discharge.
Correct.
Okay, I misunderstood what you said
Sure.
earlier.
And
Did
I
you,
apologize, I missed, what was the results of the soil boring?
10 feet,
10 feet of overburden of
Well, or,
unconsolidated something or other.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't, did they go to rock?
Did you go to rock? That's what I wanna know.
It did not hit rock in that boring, that 10-foot boring that they pulled.
Oh, they just stopped at 10 feet then?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause-
Go to refusal.
Cause if you look in that area, that's, there's a large package of glacial material on top of, like, windblown loess on top of, karst. And so at the rock, you're in a significant sinkhole prone area. And so my concern is you dig down into that overburden, which may be a more confining type layer, and get towards that bedrock, suddenly now you're opening it up to free flow into karst conduits.
Didn't you? Julio, did you say you reviewed the old drawings and that actually that was Phil?
correct. Yeah, the old drawings, which I can pull them up and share my screen if needed. But yeah, the old drawings show that to be an area of Stockpill.
You're welcome to share your screen. That's okay.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, what would the base elevation be then of the design pond in relation to the surrounding?
Sure.
pond?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. Let me put up the old drawings, and then I can answer that question.
Yes.
You said, yeah, have you talked to the maximum storage depth, that kind of stuff?
That was the report I just got last night. He said it was 4 feet deep. But he would, I think for the 100 year was 1.9 feet of storage for that 100
The
years.
basin's 4 feet, but he's only storing 2 feet deep. So as small as that looks,
Mhm.
you may be just trying to stack it up
Okay,
4 or 6 feet deep. That would be good.
I think it looks pretty schematic, doesn't it? I
I
mean,
know that.
yeah.
That's why I said, I wondered if you talked to him about that when he gets into.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, I just got it last night.
Let me see.
They want to pull, what if the pool
Drawings open up right now.
pulls up really quick? So 842 is the highest peak right here. Say that 840, I go down to roughly 836. Would they be
The bo-
excavating?
The bottom of the pond elevation that we're showing is 832.
832, okay.
Okay.
It's a large file, just bear with me.
Let's look at that. This 832 is the bottom depth of the stream right here. So this would all come out.
Yeah, see that karst right there?
That's the red.
The red, yeah, the yellow is like a cap rock
Okay.
and the red is karst. And the purple is windblown loess. We have this nice silt layer sitting on top of all that karst,
Mm-hmm.
making a nice flat confined area right now. You remove that, suddenly we're exposing all that. That was my only concern.
Yeah.
Are you looking at the state soil map? or-
No, I'm looking at,
was just-
my geology tool.
I was just thinking if they added Phil to that ginger.
I love this green.
Yeah, if it's fill and they're just removing the fill to get back down to maybe the native soils, right, then you're retaining that. I was just curious
Yeah.
how much, how deep they were actually going to dig into
Yes.
that to put in so that, right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my concern.
Yeah, thank you.
Could,
Can you see my screen?
yes,
Okay, so, here's the building. Here's this high area, it looks like, and then call out number 2 makes reference to excess soil area. And the top elevation here right now is at about, it looks like it's 835.
assuming they use the same data.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 832 is what you plan to go to, and that's about what's at the, just to the northwest. There seems to be some. Wait, where am I? That one doesn't show it nearly as much. The drainage.
Okay, this is the driveway. The building,
Driveways.
yeah. Okay, so this is the area they're talking about.
Yeah,
So it's just for waste material.
yeah.
Could you
So
zoom in
would
just
you
a little
want them
bit?
to maybe drill deeper? No,
No,
no, to see what they find,
bore.
or
Well,
maybe
not
run,
in that area, because then you create that conduit.
then you create it, yeah.
Yeah.
But you did-
Seal it well after you do it.
You did bore to, well, you didn't even bore in that particular area, I guess.
Boring stuff, yeah.
Well,
Should they, bore to their proposed depth?
I'm just bringing it, I think that, it's just maintaining that confining unit between any detention and the bedrock below is of critical importance. So if they can show that there is a significant amount, so yeah, they want to do a couple borings, but they would have to seal those appropriately so that you're not creating that conduit utilizing that boring, but
Do you think that's
that's just,
important enough to do?
Yeah, in your direction, a couple borings just outside the footprint.
yeah, that
of
might
the-
be, yeah.
Of the pond, make sure there is enough native soils to, and then if there's not, well, then might have to be some engineering to protect.
Yeah, some lining or some other technology to create that reduction in flow.
Now, what if before we require borings, if we look at this original and Phil had a good point to check the datum, make sure that if you're talking feet here, like how many feet of difference, if we can make sure that it's all being compared properly.
Mhm.
Well, the contours on what you're showing, is that a topographical survey or is that generated contours from LiDAR?
This should be a survey. Let me go.
Well, that's- Accurate elevations.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that it's, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. It's 9:25. That's not a-
Was that? What would just an approval of this preliminary drainage plan?
Yeah,
No.
yes.
Before, I was just curious of the process on this. Is this after drainage board and everything, does this actually make it through any other process as far as planning, or is this all done administratively?
Site
So,
plan.
okay, because sometimes, when we have, looming thoughts on certain things, it goes through the plan commission process and then comes back here. So this might be one of our last real times to address this. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Yeah.
I think Kelsey will bring it back to us though.
Yes, I'm not saying she
Right.
doesn't do a great job at doing that, just, I was curious if it shows up again.
I can bring it back to you if during plan review, we find issues that
Okay.
I think you'd be concerned with.
Okay.
Do you want to require additional borings in the area of the pond?
I'm leaning toward just outside the footprint and seal.
I mean, the only other opportunity would be to go over to the proposed contour depth and analyze how far it is. Cause even immediately outside the detention, right, you're still gonna potentially get some, so I'd almost move it even further away and just take an analysis at that contour that's just outside how far are you to bedrock at that point? I think that would actually be a better solution than just immediately outside. to remove that influence even further away. And that would be a lot lower cost solution, right? It would be, taking a look at it, more at that level that you're going to. Because there's that drainage, right, that goes down, right down through there. Just an analysis of the stream channel along that drainage would allow you to see what the inherent material is through there. So you go from 832 down a couple contours and you'll be able to get a good idea of if you've hit bedrock, you're darn close. If you don't hit bedrock, you probably have plenty of native soil. So
Yeah.
there's a lower cost way of doing this without having to actually do a boring. And borings actually would compromise the system more than not doing boring. So,
So an inspection of the drainage way, looking at
yeah,
832
I think
and
a
lower.
geologic survey of that drainage would provide all the information needed. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be what.
Okay. So
So you have a geotechnical engineer do that, is that?
a geotechnical or geologist.
Yeah, there's probably some professional geologists out there.
So from 832 and lower elevations to observe whether there's bedrock in the drainage way and at what elevation.
At what elevation, right, because you just wanna make sure there's like.
And to determine that there's enough native soils above the bed.
So, but what about at the center of the basin where the basin's proposed? Well, I mean, if that's a rise in,
You mean if it's like a ridge, you think between the inherent drainage? I think if you find any bedrock in that drainage, all the way to,
and you're thinking that
then-
whole thing is a,
then the
bedrock.
likelihood of finding bedrock close or nearer the surface under where the proposed.
well, I think they're gonna wanna know that.
Yeah,
You'll
well,
have
I think,
rock-
I think that they could start that way, and if they find something, then maybe they need to go in and do more borings and geotechnical analysis, but I'm just trying to propose a low-cost way,
Yeah,
an easier and less invasive way of looking, evaluating the situation without having to go crazy.
Okay.
Can you repeat, that, suggestion as far as like, that you just?
Yeah, just get I mean, I'm really be smart to do them both. I would get a geologist or geotechnical professional to do an analysis of the geology along the drainages, probably on either side, but specifically, well, yeah, either of the drainages, to ensure that there is not bedrock. If bedrock is detected at or near the surface along that drainage, then you would need to do a much further geotechnical analysis of that area to determine whether it is suitable for holding water. Because if you hit bedrock, you're hitting a karst situation, so there's a lot of solution cavities, fractures, all those things that is just gonna allow direct flow from that detention into the subsurface, compromising drinking water and all sorts of things. So you know, having that analysis done ahead of time. So yes, just going along those drainage divide, doing a geologic assessment of the geology at and just slightly below maybe the stream, I would allow for that.
And so,
Licensed professional geologists would, are suited for that. Geotechnical folks are suited for that. Anyone in that field.
this would be a visual inspection only at
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
At first. Yes.
Okay.
And so we need a motion to approve the preliminary drainage plan.
Yes.
Okay. With this visual inspection.
so,
Okay, okay. Bill,
yes.
Ginger, I. Okay, and audio says yes. And is Lee still with us?
Yes, yes, I am. I'm afraid that as a non-professional, I'm not sure I understood enough of this discussion so that I really want to take a vote. I mean, I want to make a vote.
Right.
I'd rather abstain if I can.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
understood. Yeah,
And then I think later I'd like to talk to Kelsey and figure out some of what I didn't understand.
yeah,
Yeah, Lee, if you vote present, you're not necessarily taking a stance. And if there's enough voting members to make a decision, then yeah, you're not required to take a stance if you,
okay.
yeah.
So,
That's what I
I
prefer.
don't know, basically, here is a very crude. So if this is I'm gonna do this.
Looks
You
like
know,
reality.
Well, let me be a little more specific. I don't quite understand the orifice size and reduced rate.
Okay, okay. Okay, very good.
Yeah, that would be the
Yeah.
the way the ordinance is.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could recuse yourself, I believe, or vote present, but, or abstain. I think all of those are fair.
Yeah.
Because
Um,
we have an approval of with the quorum present. So you can abstain or just vote present.
I think I'd like to vote present.
Okay, very good, very good.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Well voted. All right, Julio, I appreciate your time. Thank you. I will be in touch, with, with you to go over the plan and look for your final drainage plan to review. Okay,
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
You too. Nice meeting you.
Okay.
Have you worked with him in the past? It seems like,
Leo,
yeah.
never heard anyone.
Oh, okay.
No, the firm is in
They're from-
Ohio.
Canfield, Ohio.
Yeah, like I said, for federal properties, you often get out of state engineered, so it's
Jan
Just never know the extent of your networking.
provided some good feedback on the draft ordinance and technical standards as well, which is always good to see from outside engineers. Anyone in state is used to Christopher Burke's model ordinance, so getting fresh eyes on things is often useful.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, so the next project is, if Doug here, this is a proposed roadway connection between an existing subdivision on the south side of Ellettsville with a new subdivision that is located within Ellettsville town limits. So this was platted a long time ago. And there are some drainage concerns with this new roadway connection. It's in the Jackson Creek watershed. The drainage area is about 224 acres in this area. So I'm gonna pull up Elevate so I can zoom in a little bit more on the topo here and show you where we're at and the lay of the land here. So we're on the south side of Ellettsville, it's the State Road 46. This is Jackson Creek here. So all these subdivisions are located in the county. Everything's draining from south to northwest. This is the town boundary of Ellettsville here. So this new subdivision was approved by town of Ellettsville in 2021, I believe. So this roadway connection would basically connect this subdivision here. This is Westbrook Downs. This is North Brookwood Drive to this new subdivision here, allowing access for these two subdivisions to connect here. So this is a fairly steep area. Like I said, the drainage area is 224 acres, give or take a few. And there's this stream that runs in the rear yards of these homes up through, basically bisects Westbrook Downs. Through here, so it's fairly steep, but so you get an idea of what's around it, mostly residential. And then it all comes down to this one area here. So we have an existing structure under North Brookwood Drive. It's shown on the plans, and there's an existing riprap ditch along the roadway here. the proposed right of way is just south of, well, the existing road right of way is south of this stream channel here. It is gonna be flowing to structure that's been installed under this new roadway as well. Again, this is 2022 imagery, so this may not be fully representative of the extent of work that's been completed so far. We had an issue with this garage here that was located in the dedicated right of way that has since been removed. So now we're looking primarily at what drainage will look like and making sure that the adjacent homes will not be impacted. So with that, we requested a HECRAS report to show the extent of inundation for 100-year event, to make sure that it's not reaching the finished floor elevation of the homes, and if there's gonna be additional flooding as a result of this project, that we ask that they would acquire the necessary flood easements on these properties. Doug, I'm gonna hand it over to you, and would you care to explain in more detail?
See this, well, about 4 of these. Okay, so we got Chelsea Abram to run that class for us. It was pretty, it's like a spaghetti bowl down there where all that is starting to move, in the west. Had a very good day. So you see storm drains coming into that from the southeast. You see that big box coming from the grid, from the east. So, there was gonna be some pull downs on the HECRAS model that needed to be someone that to massage that. It took more time than I had to devote to. So we've got Chelsea to do that. We turned in her report. I think it's part of his package. It's like 100 pages here. So,
Yeah, I didn't include all the.
yeah. And my thing, the top page is the bottom line of her report. So, for those 2 intercepts, that's the P25 low water surface elevation right at.
Just for the record, Lee Jones had to leave.
Okay.
Thank you for being here, Commissioner
Thanks, Lee.
Jones. And sorry, Doug,
Yeah,
I
you're
need to
good.
jump there just for the
Right
record.
after
though.
where that, Chelsea's, study intercepts our culverts on the road that we're proposing. So this drawing has, the blue line is the full path to Chelsea model with our HECRAS. The green line is our new, culverts crossing our road.
I've been oriented, right?
So cross section here, the model is 744, is water surface elevation on her flow path, right at our, the intersection of blue line and the green line, at our culverts in her first model. I think it's important, maybe I should start with this page here showing the drainage service. Something in, basics. So the gray shaded area is what's coming into these twin culverts here. Which is an 18-acre, kind of like a sub basin of that whole basin that's coming in. Below our road to this pipe, to this culvert here into the new subdivision. So what's happened with that is, the flow path. The proposed road is actually a divide between that 18 acres and the rest of the basin, the Chelsea model there. So our team did a HY study to size those culverts under there, and that's another exhibit here. HY culverts for, and his bottom line is indicated there. Where I'll put sticky over summary table over there. So he designed this for the Q50. Which was the flow is, indicated where I had that to be there, bottom line there. The headwater, you know. The depth. Headwater elevation there, the last line. So what I've got is, then the last one here is where our inverse of our, road inlets are. And so I've got like more than a foot of cover between above Chelsea's head ras at the Q25.
Let's go back to your overall
Mm-hmm.
basin review. The pink line or purple line is that section, is that,
That's like 8 feet past, right at that intersection. There's a big intersection right there.
at the culvert?
Yes.
Okay. What is the Q100 elevation? This section, or one of these sections right in here somewhere.
Well, there would be the next one up. I think some of these are labeled.
Here's one.
Yeah, the 1791 is just beyond that 1791.
1930s.
Yeah, so that's the one I use actually. So that is the purple line there. That is.
Okay, in the 100-year elevation.
Would be the next line down, but just below the purple line.
Is he saying? One over.
Okay.
Okay. How does that relate to these two floor plans?
So 42.
Yeah, the existing units, you got about a foot clearance there.
43 almost.
For the houses in our new subdivision
That house, no, the house, the existing homes,
in Westbrook.
yeah.
Well, there's no existing homes there yet. This is the new subdivision. Oh, I'm sorry. No, these two homes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
What's on the south side?
I can get you that.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, 746 is the, going around that rat, no, looks like a pool maybe, or.
748.
On this one.
Yeah, the goal is 748.
Yeah.
And where's 742?
40,
4224.
right?
Okay.
746,
You got 3 feet in there,
746,
or 6 to 40 is 2 feet.
2 feet.
Okay, it's close now.
More built up, more impervious, more built. And more increases in frequent, duration intensity.
So what, I guess. What are we being asked to do? I mean. I
We're
don't,
looking at whether or not we will permit this roadway connection based on whether or not we can handle the drainage in this area.
okay,
Yeah, actually, it's the increase in flow caused by our road. 200-foot stretch of road is 30 feet wide. For a 200-acre basin is rather minimal.
Okay, I have another question.
Mhm.
This culvert is here. Your big box culvert you put under your road,
Yes, yes.
what was that designed for?
I have to ask John,
Just show here.
structure. Yeah, I think it is, it's, this one, 12, 15, what's that, what's the number there? 61,
Yeah, 61 to small.
61. Yes, just up the page. So previous page or something, stack of them up here.
Okay, Kelsey. I have just a couple things that need to be looked at. The sections back here. It looks like you've got just right at 2 foot of freeboard.
Mhm.
I'm going to assume that, Carrie's gonna look at this a little more detail.
Yes,
I don't want to get into it, but that would be one thing I would ask about.
either Carrie or another firm, I haven't decided yet.
Okay, this culvert down here, I thought I caught where it was designed for a 25-year storm.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I think the model needs to look and see what the impact of the roadway has for the 100. Because it will probably overtop the road then, the 100-year storm, and that's gonna have backwater here impact.
Well, it's part of Chelsea's model, so it should be.
Okay,
The
good.
blue line is.
Good, then
Figure out
Carrie
station
does that also.
Oh,
What are you saying, Bob?
16. Well, I'm just trying to track it.
The first question about it encroaching here to the stub,
Mhm.
that was my concern. Back.
So there's an intermediate flow, like right there where they're proposing to build the road, right? Or at least that's what I'm seeing with the delineation from the state inventory. And WI. Thing. Shows it going straight through that connection part. And also. Just on here, I guess there's that drainage area that you can kind of see just a little to the left right there. And then on the south side of the road, there's a stormwater area as well, so there's a lot going on here. Obviously, I'll defer to the experts as if this is something.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at state inventory, but also I have my own mapping thing going on in the surveyor's office that shows all drainage easements and other areas of interest
So that,
that we've been doing
you're
since
saying the
twenty
blue
twenty.
line.
The blue line is the NWI inventory on the state. And then,
There's a street there.
yeah, intermediate.
Okay. Stream. So that's what you ran there.
So we can ask them, we'll do appropriate permitting if we get to that point.
Well, I mean, I think creating connectivity is very important. To Terry's point, we don't want anything to overtop the roadway. So I think there's probably a doable situation. I'm just bringing these up for
Can we
your
clarify that
considerations.
we will not allow the roadway to be overtopped in a 100-year event?
I
Or
think
would you
that,
allow a certain,
I would, as far as I understand it, if you design the culvert for the 25-year storm, that is in accordance with the ordinance. Some roads are going over top of 100.
Yeah.
I think the key there is you have another access point.
right? Well, we have,
that's Ellisville right there,
this is Ellisville,
Yeah.
so the other two ways for these residents to get out of their subdivision, they have to go
We don't
north,
have one access point to the highway.
and that's in,
They got a 60-year-old concrete bridge. If you go inside like on concrete.
Do you know how many units are in the subdivision?
Yeah.
and that's in Ellisville's jurisdiction.
No, the Westbrook's in Monroe County. Ours.
But-
So.
No, I'm
The bridge
looking,
itself, though, is.
well, I mean, the bridge would be in the county inventory regardless, but the bridge itself is within Ellisville.
How many units are being proposed or plots for
On ours,
on the Ellisville side, if you were the one
on
handling?
Ellisville side, that's all built out.
No, where we're trying to get the connectivity, where there's slates being
Oh,
built.
that's,
way to the side.
okay. So this
I still
is,
understand the question. How many on ours or how many on Westbrook?
Over here where
Yeah,
the new
ours,
construction,
we've got about 100,
100.
120.
okay. And that's, I'm just kind of curious of how big of a subdivision.
And ours has a right
Couldn't
turn
they go further down?
lane, whereas Westbrook's doesn't.
So the subdivision we're gonna make this connection, but that,
but no,
what is it?
Westbrook to. the
What is
I
it?
think we
Each?
can
No.
find this in this house right here. Cause this is our dedicated road.
But right now, everything is flowing. I mean, all we're doing is introducing this road, correct?
Correct, yeah.
This right here.
All the watershed is flowing through that box culvert under Preakness, under Preakness. That's the one you're asking about, right?
Right.
Terry?
Well, actually, all of that's, there's so many obstructions that are going in there.
Yeah.
But the whole thing's gonna be impacted.
Yeah,
And that new stub to make that connection is encroaching on that channel.
Mhm.
I'm concerned that's going
Oh,
to back up the backwater even more.
Yeah, I thought it was south of the channel.
So,
Well, it is, but the north embankment of the roadway,
It's on the channel
yeah,
edge.
it's gonna be right up against.
Well, you know, actually, the roadway, runs down the storm drains to our culverts. It's not going into the channel. The roadway is a it is a break between the 18 acres and the rest of that's.
Kelsey, zoom in on that, see if they've got proposed contours. And how far out
Yeah.
does the front slope of the road extend?
So all this water is getting intercepted by these storm inlets
Mhm.
and dumped into there, which is designed for our 225 for that 18 acres.
So all the water from this roadway will be.
It's not contributing to the riprap.
All I could do is back up.
Right.
Yeah.
And the tailwater from that culverts that we design as part of that report is that's like 2 tenths, something like that.
Okay.
That's not an easement, by the way. And it can't be improved because very much because that sanitary is.
Okay,
At least I looked at the possibility of what. Bring that sanitary around so you can do that, but that's, you know, it's. That runs pretty, there's a lot of longitudinal slope on that. Last year when we had those 2 big rains, was it last summer, 2 summers? Where we had
2021.
years. I went out, took video. And I could, that was just roaring, but it was not outside the bank
okay.
of the riprap.
Was that,
This was flowing down this side here, that 18 acres, I got video of it flowing in the street path. From Westbrook all the way down there to this low
Okay.
spot there.
okay. Now, was that before this structure was
Yes,
put in?
that's
Okay.
where it's running now.
This was put in 2022. So before the structure was in, this channel could handle approximately that 100-year event. Now, this was sized for the 25-year.
Yeah, that's what Terry's, I don't know.
We can
That's what he remembers.
we can
That's what he
confirm that.
remembers, and I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll confirm that. My question for the board is whether or not we want to allow any road overtopping in this connection. Because, each subdivision only has one point of ingress egress to State Road 46, and both of them are over bridges and floodway. For this same tributary here, so,
if engineered correctly, I think the connectivity is very important.
Yeah.
I don't know if it, but that doesn't give you an answer to your question.
no, it doesn't.
What is, if one of these bridges to the north goes out, then you gotta way out the other way.
Right,
So,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't have information readily available on these two structures here.
But your question is, are we gonna allow overtopping of this road?
Mhm.
Basically.
Yeah.
And since this is the emergency exit for a scenario where there's definitely water, it seems like that would be ill-advised. And if the whole point of this is to connect and allow for.
Egress, ingress. Yes.
Right.
You have any history on this, about the structure on the existing structure in the east subdivision?
Right here,
Uh,
this home, or
no, I'm sorry,
under Brooks,
the culvert structure.
Under
the,
Yes, right there.
46.
Has that ever flooded?
You know what? I haven't seen it, but it looks like. They actually added after the fact 2 HDPs on either side of that box culvert.
Mhm.
And I don't believe one of them's even catching anything, but. It looks like there's probably been a problem or they wouldn't have done that.
That's mineral one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
a.
that's something we would know
One of these, so.
Maybe.
There's some data out there of frequently flooded road.
No, I mean,
But-
we would have put in the extra pipes,
Oh, I don't know.
you know, like if the street
You guys are
department.
But I'm really, that's kind of where my question's leading is, have we talked
Let
with?
him answer that.
Okay.
I second that.
So this road is gonna be dedicated to the county, right? Most likely this little piece potentially,
Yes.
and so it'll go into the road inventory. So what has highway communicated to us about this, and especially even us considering it being overtopped? Like, what's their opinion? I don't know if I saw anyone here, but I'm really curious
They're-
about.
They're not looking at drainage, they're just looking to see that it meets our standards for design.
Yeah, but if it
And,
overtops, like occasionally or something, this or that, you know, it's gonna, the infrastructure is gonna wear and tear a bit more so than the maintenance of that road might be. I'm just kind of curious what their thoughts were.
Wave that to Carrie.
Okay,
So you're saying, let Carrie evaluate it and see whether it's gonna overtop or not? Or verify?
I would say let Carrie look at it and give feedback to Kelsey on any issues that their design has, knowing that your ordinance says they gotta design it for a 25-year storm, but you've got to see what the impact is for 100. And I see fill embankment for this, for the road stub. I see a culvert on downstream and the existing culvert underneath to the east. I think those are all going to be impacting each other.
Mhm.
So Carrie will look at that.
Okay.
Well, that over to the east is part of Chelsea's report. She ran through that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. I don't want to get into those numbers here.
Yeah, no,
And you got,
that's why I didn't.
you got a
include
guy to do that.
So
Yes,
who's that, Terry?
Kerry Daly's with Christopher Burke Engineering. So he does all of the, plan review, for me. And, so he's familiar with our ordinance,
Okay, I
so.
got too many Terrys going on.
I know, Terry,
Carrie.
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 Let's see.
Yeah.
The K,
With the K, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
He's our third party reviewer.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think that,
Well, you said you didn't know exactly who you were sending it out there, so until Kelsey determines who she wants to send it to, we have 2 on-call contractors to help with the review, so. To
Yeah, we
leave that,
couple.
so you still have the discretion, so it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like
I-
we're fixed on one thing.
I think Christopher Burke Engineering could handle this review. They have enough engineers on staff. I just want to run it by them first because it's different than what I normally take. This is more involved. So I also have on-call contracts
I
with
just wanna make sure
Clark
we're,
Dietz, HMTB, and other
right,
engineering firms who have offered plan review services to me. Because, yeah,
so I'd leave it to Kelsey to determine and make sure it doesn't look like we're committing to use one particular person.
yeah, I will run it by Christopher Burke Engineering first since they know our ordinance.
So I make a motion that we have Kelsey send it to third-party reviewers for assessment to ensure overtopping isn't a concern even in 100-year.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if so, then bring back to us for further discussion. Is that my motion?
Well,
That's my-
before we, Tammy had something to add.
Oh, sure.
If
All right.
you don't mind if.
Oh,
you
okay.
wait for
Yeah,
her.
thanks, Tron, for
Please.
seeing that hand. Just real quick, because I'm looking at the 1977 plat, and there is that 60-foot right of way. I don't see any drainage easements on that plat. Do you know if any drainage easements exist for that
No.
area north of the roadway? And would
No.
you be just obtaining that out? I just want to confirm about easements, and then also, planning wouldn't require any kind of grading permit within that right of way, but any work that would be done outside of it within our jurisdiction would probably require grading permit.
I would ask for, since it's not the highway department doing this work, I would ask for a grading permit to cover all the work on this roadway extension, because
Okay,
we would,
that sounds
um,
good. Great.
so we have a way to regulate that, and the highway department will need to decide if they take it into their inventory. If they need to be able to determine that it meets our standards once constructed.
So should that be part of our motion?
The grading permit now, I mean, we're gonna require that anyway.
To give,
But I did have a comment in here about requiring drainage easements for any storm infrastructure outside that public right of way, whether that's a pipe or.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
and that
any-
might require them to do some wheeling and dealing with those neighbors. I don't even know if they're aware of it yet, or if anybody's talked to them.
I just wanted to see if we could do that.
Mhm.
Just be based on the size of this stream. It's a very old plat, so they weren't thinking about that in 1977, but now we are, and on new plats, we would absolutely require an easement there. But also with the discussion of if you're gonna be backing up water onto someone else's property, that you also acquire the flood
Right.
drainage easements for that additional inundation area with that 100-year event. So we can
Okay.
add that to the motion.
Yep.
If you'd like. And also to look at the finished floor elevations of the adjacent homes.
What she said.
Okay.
Thanks, Kelsey. I just,
Thank you, Tammy.
However we
Yeah.
do it, let's just make sure Donna has it straight for the minutes.
Yeah,
So, okay, so the motion is to, send to a third party for review, to look at, current situation along, at the 25-year, along with, an assessment of the 100 years, to see if overtopping would occur, to, add in drainage easement requirements for the adjacent easement, so addition,
Adjacent properties.
adjacent properties, and,
If necessary,
and a grading.
I mean, you're asking me to impose an easement or to see if it's necessary to make.
I think we're saying it is necessary, right? Isn't that what you said?
Well, we can't do eminent domain as a company.
That's true.
It's private property, so that may be at earliest possible.
Right. It's my guess that it's encroaching onto that lot to the north.
Mhm.
There's no easement now. If whatever they do changes that, then they're gonna find themselves in a position that they've got to negotiate an easement to cover the additional encroachment.
right.
If you
But
can
our
get by with
design is, yeah, our slopes stop before it gets to the easement line.
I understand that.
Yes.
It stops right at the flow line of the channel.
I stopped right at the easement line, which is close to the flow line.
Okay, I'm looking at it. The hydraulics in the ditch.
Yeah.
But if it freezes it, you're gonna have to talk to them about it.
They're talking about right here. I mean, I would at least see like temporary, at least during construction of the roadway, right? Will you need a temporary permission at least during construction on this property owner right here?
Not if we stay within the easement, not if we stay within the right of way.
We're looking at like,
Now,
He's a-
because Jerry's concern is the water is, is increased up there, but we have till water numbers for stations all along that riprap channel. And it's in this report, at my point there, it was where that 18 acres comes in through those twin culverts, it's like a tenth the till water, so I don't think I'm impacting that riprap channel up there.
I'm gonna say let Kerry cut it.
Yeah.
okay.
okay,
if you need a copy of that preliminary or the final plat, I've got that on hand as well, so
thank you,
I
Tammy.
can share. But yeah, there's no drainage easement currently shown in there for those culverts and such.
And I'm also looking at the floor elevations from the two structures.
I would,
Part of the motion.
What did you fit? You were in the middle of it. So,
All right, yeah, and adding the floor elevation assessment.
Oh, that's gonna not pull the right one. I had to go into our database.
okay, never mind, sorry.
Share screen if you wanted me to, but
No, it's okay,
I can email you a copy of it or something.
no, it's okay.
All right, Donna, did you get all that?
Is it the floor elevation?
Of
Finished
the
floor.
finished floor elevation?
Oh, the house,
Of
okay.
the house.
And is there a basement?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yes.
So then it would be the basement window. Or the first lowest area where water could potentially intrude, right? If they have a basement.
Yeah. Well, we probably wanna know what
Yeah,
finished floor of the basement is too, if there's a basement. Yeah, but if there's a window.
Yeah, the lowest floor elevation in the houses, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Property report card's not saying basement, but
we will, we'll have you look into that.
But I have one of these for your guy Carrie.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
All right,
Well, is there a second?
I'll second.
Do we want Donna to give us an indication if she got that
Yeah,
motion clearly? Donna, are you able to give us a thumbs up or maybe just indicate that you got that motion? Clearly enough to put in the minutes?
And I sometimes go back to the recordings and we'll,
And
Oh,
we'll
go
go
back.
through it.
Oh,
Yeah.
recording, yeah, you can get it.
yeah.
have to rewind
I'll
it,
take care of
edit
it if
it,
Donna has
rewind it, explain it
questions.
again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Now we gotta take a vote.
Yeah. Oh, yes, pardon me. Okay, Bill,
Yes.
Ginger?
Yes.
Yes.
And audio is yes also. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, can you send me this Carrie's contact stuff?
Yes, I
All
can.
right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Doug.
Hi, Doug.
Thank you for your patience. Last one, 10:09. Thank you for.
Need to wait for this guy.
Yeah.
Andy gets-
Andy,
Patience.
very patient. All right, Andy.
I'm
you're
here to,
up.
I have to excuse myself, but I'll just.
Right.
But we still have 3 voting members, so we are still okay to proceed. Which I did look out for. Okay, so we have, in the Lake, in the Lake Monroe watershed, Lakeview Elementary School is proposing a solar array, which will be solar panels strictly for powering the school. They will not be distributing it or selling it commercially. This is just to power the elementary school here. Their project area. Let me zoom into the map so you can get more context and see where we are. Sorry, okay, so we are down in here, so this is Lake Monroe. This is Eagle Point here, golf course, residential. This is Lakeview Elementary School. The fire department, the water tower. The school owns all this property, right?
Yes.
Let me turn up the, this. Oops. A little better here. Okay. So the solar array is being proposed in this area right here, and they'll run their electrical conduit to the school. But all this is owned by the school here, this whole wooded area. They're asking to remove some trees along here, so they can install the solar panels and not have issues with shadows. The area itself is fairly flat. It does drop off towards the trees in here, and there's an existing erosional gully that has formed. Let's show on the plans. I'll pull that up, and they're gonna be mitigating that issue. Alright, so everything in general is flowing to the west, not within the Lake Monroe watershed. It's a tributary to Salt Creek. One little corner, east side here does drain to the Lake Monroe watershed, but most of it does drain outside that watershed to the west. So not in a critical area, most of it is not in an eco zone. I get here. So I asked Andy to look at our draft stormwater management ordinance and technical standards as the first project to propose a solar project. To see how detention would look. Long story short, Andy's coming asking for a detention waiver. And he has some reasonings behind the drainage on site. To me, the biggest thing is that adding detention to this would likely require additional tree removal and disturbance. So to keep the project area smaller with minimal environmental impact, to me, that would be the main reason to ask for that detention waiver for this project. So,
Was this in that site in a critical basin?
no,
Okay.
it is not. So everything, these are the drainage areas, it drains to the west here, and this is the only area in the eco zone in the Lake Mineral watershed. Okay. All right, so I pulled up this plan, that page, I thought it best showed your drainage plan and what you're proposing here. So Andy, I will let you describe in detail your process for designing this, asking for the waiver.
Great, thanks, Kelsey. Yeah, so you can see figure there, solar panels, like that's all the impervious area that we're adding to the site are basically the solar panels themselves. And, you know, they're gonna be built on driven piles, so, you know, there really won't be any excavation or earth moving on the site. Like, they're just gonna pile these posts in the ground and build the racking for the solar panels on that. And then, you know, the finished condition will be the solar panels and everything else will be revegetated with like a native perennial flower kind of seed mix. So, so ultimately, you know, the only impervious area we're dealing with here is the panels themselves. And, you know, we looked at the chapter 13, guidance that was really written, you know, it says for solar farms, and we've like drawn a distinction here between a solar farm and a solar array. So this is a solar array. It's really, you know, one solar installation to power the school and for, you know, use at the school. It's not like we're building many megawatts of capacity to sell to the grid. Like, so that's the kind of the distinction we're drawing, you know, between a solar array and a solar farm. So, but that said, so like this ordinance is really targeted towards like, you know, acres and acres and acres of solar panels, like in a solar farm kind of development. So thus far, there's nothing like that in Monroe County. So this ordinance is kind of targeted towards that really large scale kind of solar development.
Yeah.
And, you know, what we're doing here is substantially smaller, but we still think, you know, that some of the things that are described here in this chapter 13 guidance are still, you know, really relevant and good guidance. Like one thing is about, you know, ensuring that the impervious area of the solar panel is disconnected. So, you know, we're not going to like channel all that water into a pipe and have like a single point discharge from the project, because that would basically take all that impervious area and concentrate it at one point, and that's not what we're trying to do, you know, so the goal here is to, you know, we're gonna put like some erosion control, some perforated piping with, you know, drain rock backfill, you know, at the drip edge of each of those panel arrays. So as you're looking at it here, all those panels are, you know, each run of panels is oriented east-west. The panels themselves are angled to the south to catch the optimum sun angle. And they're not rotating kind of array, it's just fixed. So all the runoff will come off the south edge of those panel runs, and we're gonna collect it in like a perforated pipe, you know, with a gravel backfill and to mitigate any erosion that might happen at that drip edge. And then the little, you know, we've got these little, I don't know how to describe them, you know, how they look in this figure, but each of those little features that Kelsey is pointing to there, those are level spreaders. So after the drainage is captured in some perforated pipe, then we'll, you know, run that downslope a little ways until we get to a contour where we'll take that perforated pipe and run it out flat along the contour so that water can like exfiltrate through this perforated pipe and the gravel backfill along that contour, so it'll spread the flow back out again after it's been collected. And we'll do that, you know, at regular intervals, like every 2 bays of panels. I think it's like every 60 feet or so. We'll have a level spreader to spread out that captured flow. And so the goal is to prevent, like I said, a point discharge.
Will all the pipes be, like you have a couple levels spreaders there that are on the north side, like that one, yeah.
Yeah,
So will the conduit be connected to, or the perforated pipe be connected to that level
Yeah.
spreader? Okay.
yeah, like right there, you know, some of them are in a funny spot where like the contours are, you know, as you can tell, the slope is kind of going in several different directions across the site. So like right in that area, it's sloping northward. So our thought is to capture the drip edge of the panels and then have a short run of pipe that goes under the panels and releases it into a level spreader on the north side of that panel row. And then it will spread back out across the vegetated landscape. Andy? Yes.
Describe the level spreaders a little bit more. Are they going to be like an under drain in stone to disperse?
Yeah,
Will the end of that daylight? Or just, it will be an under drain?
yeah, the pipe will not daylight.
Okay.
Kelsey, I think if you go another sheet or two down, we might have the detail.
Sheets in the packet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I can, sorry, I can pull up the,
Okay,
like, set quickly.
so yeah, the perk pipe will be all subgrade. It's not gonna daylight at all.
Okay.
And it'll, you know, perk up through.
That's my next question.
A lot of it will actually, you know, infiltrate into the ground, but
Right.
what, you know, the ground doesn't have capacity for will, you know, kind of bubble up
It
through the
could
gravel.
actually come back to surface and
Yeah,
find its way out,
yeah,
but it will be dispersed really well in my mind.
yes.
So how much
That's
of
the
the
goal.
detention will be there since it's looking, you're like wanting to, the waiver of a peak flow detention? Like, how much is this site gonna still kind of be able to hold water? And really the impetus of that question is because of the 2 acres of clearing of trees and brush, it's a pretty wooded area currently. And I know all those contribute to some stormwater mitigations and the roots soak up the water and stuff. So we're looking to remove all those, also a waiver of the peak flow discharge. It does talk about planting those again after the fact, but I'm just kind of curious of how much are you asking to waive? Like, how much is the site still going to be able to retain? Like, what kind of bioretention is gonna be on the site for the release?
So, so following the guidance here in your new tech standards, the guidance is that if we do the level spreader thing, which we're doing, we can, you know, use curve numbers in the runoff model consistent with like, what does it say? The treated area treatment meaning, level spreaders. Dispersing that peak flow, and so we call it woods in good condition. So we selected a curve number similar to woods in good condition, which honestly, you know, that's similar to what's there now. There's a little more, you know, area that's just mowed grass. And there's a little more area that's, you know, there's like a little tiny bit of parking lot on the south side of the school actually, you know, will flow through the project area. But, so we did, you know, we followed the guidance here. We did pre and post project peak flow modeling. And, and the thing is that the pre-project, before we do anything out there, our peak flow, actually, I don't have the.
One more
model all the results here, but the peak flow, you know, before we do anything out there, the peak flow from the project is already well above the like general release rate
Okay.
of 0.5 CFS per acre for the 10-year event, 0.9 CFS per acre for the 100-year event. You know, those are the general release rates. Before we do anything out there, like in the existing condition, like we're already at twice that. And it, to me, it seems kind of unreasonable to expect that a project where we really have very minimal impact to the existing drainage condition, we would need to put in detention systems to like reduce the peak flow to less than half of what it is now. So that's the point of the drainage detention request. Okay. Is that, you know, what we're doing isn't really, you know, I think the model results show a very small increase, like of, I don't have the numbers right at my fingertips, but a very small increase in peak flow post-project, which, you know, we can, you know, pretty well mitigate a portion of that through, you know, just doing where that Kelsey mentioned the erosive gully, like right there, like in the existing condition, that's a location where some flow concentrates just from the natural contours of the land there and some of the pre-project disturbance from when this was an agricultural land use.
Yeah. Explain again, you've got some wooded area.
Mhm.
Under developed conditions, what I'm visualizing, tell me if I'm wrong, is the gaps between those panels, the long gaps where you're putting out your flush system.
Yeah.
I'm visualizing like a grass field that you would mow a couple times a year. So you're almost like a hay field in a runoff condition then.
Yeah.
Am I?
And it may even be sheep grazing there to manage the,
So that might be shorter, I guess.
yeah.
I'm seeing a pretty good tall hay field.
Yeah,
You just mow it a couple times a year.
yeah, there won't be trees, but there will be, you know,
I wonder if
flowering perennials.
is it realistic to think that vegetation would grow under those panels, like a grass of some kind? Would it get enough daylight?
I think so.
You sometimes see it, yeah.
Yeah, I think there will be, you know, the panels will be up, you know, 4 or 5 feet in the air.
Well, what I'm driving at here is, I see a runoff curve number for Woolens. And it's going to change to a hayfield. Do you have those numbers in your head, Andy?
I don't have them in my head, but there, yeah, there's not a huge change in the peak flow. And, you know, in using the guidance here with the runoff, curve numbers that are recommended in the technical guidance, like, there's a very small increase, and mainly it's a result of, you know, they said to use the next less infiltrating, hydrologic soil condition. So we're going from hydrologic soil group B to hydrologic soil group C, and that accounts for really all the increase in peak flow that we get out of the model. And that's to compensate for any soil compaction that might be happening during construction. And, you know, there's not, like I said, there's not a huge amount of impact during construction of solar panels. Like they'll be out there, you know, with putting in the piles and then erecting the structure for the panels. So there's not a huge amount of soil impact. And once they're done, it'll be pretty well mitigated through, you know, the like deep rooted, you know, native flowering perennials that, you know, we're gonna specify in the seed mix. So I think over a short period, whatever soil compaction is happening here, would be pretty well mitigated.
And it wouldn't be continuously grazed if you were to go that option. They would have the sheep brought to the site. So it'd just be like
Yeah.
mowing it once or twice a year. You'd have it grazed
Yeah,
once or twice a year as well.
Yeah.
It would be continuous.
yeah, and the sheet might be on the property for a week, twice a year, and then trucked off somewhere else. I'm not, we haven't quite figured out how that might work yet, but it's something that the school corporation is considering.
You lost me here. What are you bringing? Sheep and, oh, sheep.
I heard sheep.
Instead of mowing, sheeping.
Yes, sheeping, shearing.
I have another observation that I'm just throwing out. Is when I think of these panels, I generally think of them as stepping down a slope. And, you know, your initial thought is it hits that panel and runs off. But the panel above that's going to run off under this one. So you're maintaining a good runoff coefficient if you're putting this hay through the site.
Mhm.
Personally, I think that element and his system of, you call it, you refer to it. The
level spreaders?
Yeah, the level spreaders, I think that's a great package.
Mhm.
Personally,
Yeah.
I'm not relating to the ordinance particularly, but
Yeah, I think what I've heard in like the stormwater world, when, you know, folks up in northern Indiana have like hundreds or like 1,000 to 2,000 acres of a new solar farm being proposed. They're gonna require detention for access roads, any new impervious surface, assuming below the solar panels is gonna remain vegetated. But also, as you're asking for detention for those access roads, that you would treat the panels themselves as that disconnected impervious surface and not require full detention. Like you would treat them as like fully impervious, but have still some volume to compensate for that disconnected impervious surface. That's just the background that I am seeing when we have like the solar ordinance in place, like that's kind of what my interpretation was. But yeah, I think if it's gonna remain vegetated below the panels and have that velocity issue, you know, resolved with the level spreaders, I think it'd be just a matter of maintenance in the future to make sure that no erosion is occurring, and maybe we can have like an O&M manual to maintain the pipes and level spreaders over time if there are issues.
Mhm.
And vegetation.
Yeah, managing the vegetation. I mean, making sure that it's gonna remain vegetated, otherwise we would have to take it back to the board if they decide to put gravel down under the panels or something,
Right.
that would be different.
Right.
So, will you have an access road or is just an existing?
There will be a
driveway?
temporary access road during construction for, you know, the main access into the property.
Okay,
But that'll be removed.
okay.
Yeah, motion to approve the waiver of detention with the construction of the level spreaders and an O&M plan for continued observation of erosion and vegetative cover.
Mhm.
And also, I mean, this is not a part of the motion, but I think I'd really like to encourage solar development
Yeah.
and to make it less onerous. I think it's be a really good thing, you know, in general for our environment. So I'm all for it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's very innovative that we put the drip panels into these levels. I think that's a really good way of taking concentrated flow and making it non-concentrated. So
Diffuse.
Well, I mean, it's here in the technical guidance. Give Burke some credit for that.
Yeah.
I think we're implementing it in the way it's is intended to go, so, thank you.
All right, a second, okay, Bill? Oh, that's right, you're using,
Aye.
I,
and I'll use it live also, okay, and so the waivers.
That's it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
nice,
I'd like to thank you guys are really working for that 4K increase.
2-hour meeting.
Year buffer.
Sorry.
between
Well, and then there's more to go.
grazing.
Oh,
Is
shoot,
there-
we
is
have
there-
a-
There is another, yeah,
I've
especially.
worked
We have
off
nothing
these
else to
state
vote
plans.
on.
Yeah, they need that like 3 year.
It's my only
period to
other
really get
meetings
us
in
a
Indy
root
at
system
one.
and everything
so
else before.
Mine's
then
at 11.
Yeah.
at the office.
Introducing.
Okay, this would be really
Yeah,
fun.
whatever.
They-
Goats are
50-50
great for
depending
the
virtually
invasives, so
how many
we
drive.
have,
Okay.
get an invasive problem.
Yeah, goats might
And
also
then
chew
we
on
can
some
tell
of
you
the
the
like
census, we
conduit.
can get
and-
it.
and
Can't jump
other-
up there,
Yeah.
This next
I
year.
heard that goats can.
Yeah,
do-
you're right about
Yeah.
that. That's true,
Yeah.
that's true, right?
I don't have any
Yeah.
discuss
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, I'm,
But we can bring it up.
I don't know if I'll be involved much in that.
No, I know.
aspect of things, but we'll definitely put, in the O and M manual, some, you're right.
State
There'll be
grazing.
some time for the native plants to like really get established and,
Mhm.
and also controlling invasives is
Yeah.
a key part of like allowing the native plants to get established.
Right.
And, so,
All right.
Yeah.
I'll follow up with you, Andy, on
Okay.
this.
thanks, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just have a quick, in the packet, I was sent, some materials from the property owners in the Clear Creek watershed near the trails at Robertson Farm subdivision that we, discussed their preliminary drainage plan at our February regular meeting. So this was in the packet and I can resend it to you if you want to take a look at it, but I wanted to just show you, this is their description of some of the issues that they see in that area, the watershed. The drainage area, and then some, result of the flooding from the June 2021 or February 7th, 2019, and then June 19th, 2021 events, in this area, so. They asked that I send this to you and so that you can see the extent of the flooding. This is the Clear Creek, trailhead. It's all underwater. That's Church Lane up here.
That's not a latrine, is it?
It is.
And the reason we're looking at this is if the project somehow moves forward at the plan commission and comes back here, and they're just wanting to provide us this additional information.
Yes.
I think they start with the improvements downtown.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's,
And
go ahead.
I want to get in touch with the city of Bloomington because I know that they did modeling as a result of that Hidden River project and they extended it farther south in the project, not into the county. But I think that work needs to continue as well. So I want to see the results of that modeling that they contracted out for that Hidden River project. Maze Greenhouse flooded.
Yeah, it will be kind of cool to see. I really like these slides where they show where the photos being taken.
Yeah, the intersection of Roger Street and that road. This is the Southern Meadows subdivision over to the right here. The intersection was a bit of a mess after that rain event. It's all in the floodplain for Clear Creek. So it's not surprising that it flooded, but it wasn't good.
Just to make a point, and we allowed a couple different developments, but that bridge itself is just not to compliance, so
I will defer to Paul
it's over bridge.
in the highway department for that bridge in this area.
What was the date of this one?
These are the
21.
2021 event. So there's two series of photos. One was from the 2019, February 7th, 2019 flood event. Then we have this one June 18th through 19th, 2021.
Interesting.
Both of them, I think, exceeded the 100-year. I think. I know June, it was, some areas got over 6 inches. It was pretty localized in some areas. The February event was particularly bad because I remember it was a thaw. Yeah, there was definitely like snow on the ground. Soils are already saturated, and then we got a lot of rain in a short period of time. It was, they all happened really quickly.
Do me a favor, scroll down like 7, 8 more.
Mhm.
Curious, what the one that you see road closed? Next one, no, maybe not.
They didn't overtop the bridge but in March, 3rd, 2023, I was out there.
Yeah,
in that.
So I said the
area.
porta potty was the least of our worries in terms of
Yeah.
sewage.
That's pretty bad.
That's, I was, yeah. I was like, what I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and Finland is in the flood.
It's blend up.
The next one down, the next one down is pretty scary too, but.
In that event, the field's been and also overtopped. It was just bad all around. So, yeah, the Dillman Road Bridge, that's Jackson Creek, off Roger Street, whatever. We have bridges wash out.
Oh,
It's a car. So it was a devastating event. The floodwaters came up quickly, receded quickly, but caused a lot of damage in the process. So wanted to show you these pictures sent from the property owners as we're looking at development in these areas. Of course, that Trails at Robertson Farm subdivision, if approved by Plan Commission, you will absolutely see that final drainage plan review to ensure it meets our standards and have a final say in its approval.
Is there anything going on to try and promote reduction of impervious surfaces, like any places where there's houses that are in disarray that could be removed and repervious?
Impervious.
I mean,
I don't know.
Right, I mean, is there anything?
property buyout program would be desirable.
Yeah,
It's just a lot of work on our end.
did the emergency managers end up putting that into the last update? So we
Yes.
probably could move forward
We
with
can,
some of that, property buyout type.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
in the Cave Creek, Sinking Creek and Clear Creek watersheds, we have a certain number of properties in that multi-housing mitigation plan that
Okay.
it's in the plan, and I made sure that I talked to Manuela and Christopher Burke, who's writing it for the county,
Okay.
make sure that we had enough properties in there to do buyout.
And we should reignite that conversation.
Yeah, there's definitely at least 3 or 4 that would be prime candidate.
Yeah, there's some FEMA grants that are available to these.
I know, you mentioned one in during for the.
Yeah, the Cassidy's have actually purchased some properties in this area with the hope that the county will buy them, because they don't want anyone else buying homes right here. So,
Oh, that's something.
yeah, so,
Which one did Randy elevate?
there's one that was elevated, I think one of these, this parcel here. That went through BZA after the fact.
So,
And I know where you're right, but I have I did see that webinar if you want.
Oh, yes, on Atlas 15.
And I can send you all a copy of it too, but yeah, it was dated wrong.
Okay,
It was for the Thursday, not the Tuesday. For some reason, it was dated wrong.
yeah,
And I emailed her and said, wait, this says this, but you put it on my calendar for this, so which is it?
Okay.
So it was the Atlas 15
Oh, right.
update for NOAA.
Yeah.
And
I attended that. so.
did you? Yeah, it was great. It was great to see what they were doing and the difference between the infiltration frequency, duration curves and how they're moving forward with those. And how they're taking it from basically zoning around the country to now doing a kind of full one across the entire nation as a one volume and, well, 2 volumes, but as a full package. But I think the biggest takeaway from it was that the assumptions in previous Atlas were that there was no change in the future perceived. And so all the models were run with status quo being how it would move forward. And this one, they're actively looking at the change, or perceived change in future conditions. So there will be more adaptation.
Mhm.
So, but I'll send you guys the report.
great, that'd be
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah, I can distribute to local engineers as well.
I
Well, I learned
did sign in, but I didn't learn a lot, obviously. If it wasn't that right shade, yeah, you said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's always things to learn.
no, that was my fault. I mean, I just kind of cut and pasted it into an email and then it's like, wait, what is going on?
Well, are we done?
We have to.
Yeah, motion to adjourn, second, okay, on favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.